Hey guys, Enan here from Udroid Mania, and today we'll be unboxing the all-new HTC One M8. And yesterday, as you know, HTC finally announced and released the HTC One M8. I was able to head on over to Verizon and pick up the gunmetal gray. And I've got it sitting here next to my packaging from last year for the HTC One, the AT&T variant, the M7. We'll take a look at that later in another video as I compare it to the HTC One M8. So this will be a quick unboxing and a first look. As I mentioned, I just got this yesterday and I haven't really had a chance to play around with the actual phone, so I'll do my full review once I've had a chance to get it out of the packaging and test it out for a couple of weeks. Alright, so why don't we just go ahead and jump right into it. Pretty standard HTC packaging, not too much different than what we've already seen from last year. Alright, and there you have the phone. Just pop that out and we'll get to that in a moment. As you know, HTC has the advantage now, and what they're saying is that you get a free one-time cracked screen replacement by purchasing this phone within the first 6 months that you own it. You'll get 50 gigs of free online storage, and it's got the Android software update commitment. So for the next 2 years at least, you should be able to get your device updated and keep it current with the Android software releases. Alright, so why don't we continue on here. You've got the power block. It's got the nice HTC, well, take a look at that. It's got the nice power block here. Looks pretty good. Here you've got your USB 2.0 cable. Just open that and set that off to the side. Now yesterday at the Verizon store I did have the phone on so that they could actually get the SIM card in there and set me up, because I typically am on AT&T and this is my first Verizon phone, so I had to actually get that done yesterday. And they told me that I wasn't going to get any headphones in the box at the store, but I can see here that they did include them in the box. They told me that they weren't sure, that it depended on the carrier, so I guess they weren't aware yet, but they are in the box. And I actually like the ones that I got last year with the HTC One, so I'm hoping that these are of comparable quality. Alright, and here we've got some support material. Not going to go through that, I usually don't end up using it anyway. And here you've got the SIM tray ejector. Alright, and so now we can actually peel off the plastic wrapping that they had on the phone. And just taking a first look around the device. Looks really nice, it feels really good. I like this gunmetal gray color. You can tell that the screen is larger than the M7 version of the HTC One. I'm gonna hold up my Nexus 5 here and just see if I can get those in without too much of a glare. And you can see that it's actually pretty close in size to the Nexus 5. Adding in the bezels, it's a little bigger, but in terms of screen size, you can see that the screens are pretty much the same size. For the top of the phone, you've got this IR blaster. It's actually pretty nice. It takes up the majority of the space here, along with the power button. Here along the left hand side of the phone, you've got the SIM card tray. And I read yesterday on one of the blogs that HTC One is using a nano SIM now, so if you don't have that, head on over to your carrier. They should be able to swap that out for you. And on the front of the phone, you've got the 5 megapixel wide angle front facing camera. You've got the notification light flanked by the boom speakers there at the top. At the bottom, you've got the HTC branding there and the boom speaker there. On the bottom of the device, you've got the USB port here, along with the 3.5mm headphone jack. And along the right hand side, you've got your SIM card tray and the volume rocker. On the back, you'll notice it's got the dual camera sensors here with the depth of field sensor at the top and the dual flash on the left. Now we'll get more into the tech specifics of this phone once I've had a chance to actually run the full review, but let's go ahead and power the phone on. And as I mentioned, the power button is at the top there. And there's the Verizon logo. Alright, so there's the home screen, and a swipe to the left will get you over to blink feed. And you'll notice that as I'm swiping, I'm getting a full scrolling effect here. That is different than the HTC from last year. It had more of a one screen at a time swipe, but here, when you swipe, you actually get the full scrolling effect. So I actually like that this time. I didn't really use blink feed much on my previous HTC One. I may actually give it a try this time. Overall, the UI looks pretty nice. It's clean, it's pretty snappy. You'll notice that it has on-screen buttons this time, no more the capacitive buttons that were on the bottom before. Try taking some photos here, see what that looks like. Alright, so we'll go ahead and try out the dual focus. So we'll take a photo here of this little guy, and we'll look at the photo. And we're going to edit, effects, touch on the U focus, and you can see there that this guy becomes in focus and then these guys are blurred out. One of the things I did notice as I was taking these photos here is that you got to be careful that when you're holding the camera that you don't, or you've got to be careful that when you're holding the phone that you don't block the dual focus sensor that's here on the back. Otherwise you're going to get all kinds of messages telling you that it can't focus, that you're blocking the dual focus. So there you go. I don't know if you guys can see that. It does bring this guy here more sharp and in focus, and it does add a blurring effect here off to the side. I would say it's not as good as a digital SLR, but it's pretty good for a phone. So I'd have to play around with that a little bit more to get a good feel for it. So I'll cover that more in depth in my full review. So I think I may like this phone, guys. What do you think? Will you be getting the M8? It's in stores as of yesterday. Over in Verizon, you can order online for any of the other carriers. So overall, guys, this appears to be a pretty good phone. I'll get more into the overall performance during my full review after a couple of weeks of usage. Make sure you guys check back. I'll be doing a couple comparison videos up against the iPhone 5S, up against my Galaxy Note 3. I'll also put this up against the Nexus 5 just to see how this phone fares out. But I can say that I'm pretty impressed so far with the aesthetics of the phone. It looks really good, feels really nice. It's not too heavy, it's not too light. I'd say they got the weight just about right. It seems to be pretty solid for a flagship phone, just like we've come to expect from HTC. This phone's got just about everything you could want. A 1920 by 1080 5-inch display with 441 ppi. It's got Android 4.4 out of the box, a 2.3 gigahertz quad-core processor. That's a Qualcomm Snapdragon 801. It's got a 4 ultra-pixel 1080p rear-facing camera with a 5 megapixel 1080p front-facing camera. It comes in for 32 gigs for internal storage with 2 gigs of RAM. And expandable storage up to 128 gigs with a 2600 milliamp battery. So that's pretty good. We'll just have to see how that stacks up against the Galaxy S5 when that comes out. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and visit me again soon. If you'd like to see more videos like this or have questions or thoughts, hit me up in the comments below.